is connected, if inductor is connected, can anyone just unmute and tell me what happens to the voltage and current? Inductor. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Then you should speak. How long will take?
For inductor, lagging current is lagging the voltage by phase angle pi by 2, ma'am. For inductor.
The current will be lagging the voltage, right? The current will be lagging the voltage by 90 degree or pi by 2. And if it
And
is
if
of a capacitor, if it is of a capacitor, then if it is of a capacitor, if it is a capacitor, how we are going to get? The voltage will be leading or current will be leading?
Current will be leading voltage by 90 degree, ma'am.
The current will be leading
current,
the voltage by 90 degrees. So this concept you have studied, and if any, all the three things are connected, how we are going to write the phasor diagram that you have understood. Now, for the same AC parallel circuit, for the same AC circuits, now we are going to understand the concept of parallel. Suppose I'll just take a simple example here. Just a simple example for making you to understand the relation between the impedance and admittance. Okay. Now, assume that you have one device here. I don't know what is that particular component. Either it may be a resistor or inductor or whatever it is. I will take three components which are connected in parallel. Okay, instead of indicating resistor, inductor, capacitor, if I indicate inductor, capacitor, no, so I should indicate in terms of XC and XL. So I don't want to make more complications there. So just to understand the parallel circuit, I will take three boxes through three block diagrams, wherein these three block diagrams, it consists of the three passive components. Three passive components are nothing but resistor, inductor, and capacitor. Suppose I have this box which is having a resistor or capacitor, whatever the series, okay, but it will be having a impedance of Z1. This will be having an impedance of Z1, and the second component, it will be having an impedance of Z2, and the third component, it will be having an impedance of Z3. So I have three components which are connected in parallel. So if it is connected in parallel, means obviously all this it will be shorted, and the other side also this will be shorted, and from one particular junction, this from here it will be given to your supply. This will be given to your supply voltage. This is nothing but your supply voltage Vs. Okay, I will be taking as Vs, and the other end from the positive terminal also it will be connected to this. Now the voltage across this particular thing. Now you know the concept. If the components are connected in parallel, the voltage across all the components will be same or different? The voltage across all Z1, Z2, Z3,
same, ma'am.
it will be same.
Voltage.
Right? So I will be considering the voltage across this entire parallel circuit is V. Means the voltage across Z1 is also V, Z2 is also V, and Z3 is also V. Okay. Now coming to the current parameter. See my incoming current, the input current, I am going to take it as I. Okay. When it comes to this junction, as it is a parallel circuit here, what happens to the current? The current will
Split,
be,
ma'am.
it will be splitting. So my total current I1 will be splitted into three components, that is nothing but the across Z1 it will be the current I1, across Z2 the current will be I2, and across Z3 the current will be I3. So these are my three currents. Now when I apply the Kirchhoff current law across this junction. Kirchhoff current law. So what is Kirchhoff current law? That is incoming current will be equal to outgoing current. What is my incoming current? My incoming current is I. So I can write when I apply the Kirchhoff current law across that particular junction, the total incoming current I will be equal to all the outgoing currents. So what are the outgoing currents? That is nothing but I1 plus I2 plus I3. I1 plus I2 plus I3. Okay, so this is the incoming current and the outgoing current when we apply Kirchhoff current law across the junction. Now you know what is the current. If I want to indicate the current in terms of voltage and impedance. See, across this particular junction, Z1 is the impedance, Z2 is the impedance across this path, and Z3 is the impedance across this particular branch. Now, if I consider the total impedance, I can indicate it as Z, right? I can indicate it as Z, right? So, whatever, but my supply voltage, Vs is my supply voltage, and the same supply voltage it will be passing through the all the impedances. So, in a parallel circuit, the voltage remains constant. That you know. So I'm going to take, I'm going to write for the current I, the total current I as V by Z. Z is nothing but the total impedance. I'm going to write it as V by Z. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to rewrite that. What is the current I1? Current I1, I can write it as, I can't write V1 here because the supply voltage and the branch voltage both it will be same in the parallel circuit, so I can indicate it as V only. So I will indicate the voltage across the parallel circuit is V, and what is the impedance across I1? The impedance across I1 in this figure is Z1, so I can write it as it is Z1. So similarly I can write it for I2. I2 the voltage is V divided by Z2. Z2, and the volt across the current I3 again it will be V divided by Z3. V divided by Z3. Now you can take a common out. What is common here? V is common. If I take it outside, okay, this V and this V it will be cancelled. All the V's will be cancelled. So finally you will be getting an expression as 1 by Z is equals to, it will be 1 by Z1 plus 1 by Z2, 1 by Z2 plus 1 by Z3, 1 by Z3, 1 by Z3. Now, if you want to simplify further, you can simplify and you can find out the equation in terms of 1 by Z. That is, the equation is nothing but 1 by Z. If I take a LCM of this, it will be Z1, Z2, Z3. Okay, Z1, Z2, Z3, it will be in the denominator. It will be in the denominator. Okay, so the product of Z1, Z2 and Z3, it will be in the denominator, and in the numerator you have Z1 here. What are the remaining two terms? It is Z2 and Z3. So I can take it as Z2 into Z3. Z2 into Z3 plus Z1 into Z2, sorry, Z1 into Z3 plus for the third term it will be Z1, Z2. Z1, Z2. So this is your impedance. What is that? This is your impedance. Now, but here you have found the expression. But what is this 1 by Z? 1 by Z is nothing but your admittance. So if you want to define admittance, it is reciprocal of impedance is nothing but your admittance. Reciprocal of impedance is nothing but your admittance. Okay. So if I want to write, the expression in terms of admittance, yes, you can write. Okay. So just now I'll be indicating that Y is nothing but admittance, and my formula is 1 by Y is nothing but 1 by Z. 1 by Z. Y is equals to 1 by Z. So Z is the impedance and Y is nothing but my admittance. So the reciprocal of impedance is nothing but admittance, or reciprocal of admittance is nothing but your impedance. Now for the same given circuit, I'll be taking the same Kirchhoff law. I will rewrite the expression. See, my incoming current will be equal to outgoing current. So I have told that is I1 plus I2, I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I3. So these are the three currents, right? Now when I take this, so I will write this in terms of admittance. So what is I1? I1 is nothing but, I will go for I only. What is I? I is nothing but the voltage V, and instead of writing it is divided by Z. What is 1 by Z? You have a formula. Just now you have found the formula for Y. Y is nothing but it is 1 by Z, right? So instead of writing 1 by Z, I can write it as admittance. That is nothing but V into Y. V into Y. Similarly, I am going to write the voltage for this V. It will be common, and instead of I1 1 by Z1, I will be indicated as it is Y1. 1 by Z1, instead of that I'll be indicating as Y1. So V into Y1. So again the next one will be V into Y2. V into Y2. The third one will be V into Y3. V into Y3. Okay, so you can take V common from all the terms. So final expression for the admittance you are going to get it is y is equals to y1 plus y2 plus y3. So see, in the impedance you will be getting as z is equals to 1 by z in the parallel circuit. See, you should know what is the difference between series and parallel. When you are writing in the series, my impedance value was z1 plus z2 plus z3. So this is your about your series circuit, the impedance of the series circuit. But if my components are connected in parallel, then my impedance value will be 1 by z. So if it is 1 by z, all the terms it will be in terms of 1 by z only. So it will be 1 by z1, okay, plus 1 by z2, 1 by z2, so on. This is for parallel circuit impedance, and this is for this is for series circuit impedance, and this is for parallel impedance. Similarly, this is a diagram, this is a equation for in terms of admittance for a parallel circuit. This is for parallel circuit. If I want to write it again into the series circuit for the admittance, then it will be 1 by y. It will be reciprocal of that. So just remember, whenever they give the admittance value in your problem, if you want to substitute it in place of impedance, just take a reciprocal. Okay, if they have given admittance, just take a reciprocal, you will be getting impedance. If you want admittance value, just take a reciprocal of impedance, you will be getting the admittance. Just keep this in mind. Okay, now next is you should understand two more words. Now you have understood the concept of admittance, how exactly you are going to find out the admittance value and what is the relation between the impedance and admittance. The next two more concept is one more you have, it is conductance, and the second one, the next one is nothing but your susceptance. Okay, conductance and susceptance. So this you have already learned. But now you are going to understand in the electrical parameters. Okay, in the electrical parameters. Please don't touch on the screen. Don't touch it on the screen. Okay, now if you want to understand the conductance, now just now I have told you z is nothing but impedance and y is nothing but your admittance. Similarly, for the conductance, I am going to use a symbol or the letter, it is G. For the conductance, it is G, and the susceptance, it is nothing but my B. The susceptance is nothing but my B. I will just take a simple thing for deriving the expression or the deriving the equation for G and B now. Okay, what is this conductance and what is this susceptance? You are going to understand now. Okay, now you know that what is the expression for Z in terms of R and XL. So I can write Z is nothing but it is a resistance R plus or minus J into X. I'm just writing in a general. I'm not writing for XL or XC. Even if it is for XL means I can take positive. If it is XC means I can take negative. So Z is equals to R plus or minus J into X. Okay, this plus will be for inductance when X changes to XL, and this minus will come when X changes to XC. So I just taken the simple expression or a general expression for impedance. Now I know the impedance. What is my admittance now? I will just write it. The impedance y is nothing but 1 by z. So I can write this expression as y. So if I want to write the expression for y is equals to 1 by z. Y is equals to 1 by z. So what is that z? I have the expression for z. So I will just substitute here. What is that z? Z is nothing but r plus or minus j into x. R plus or minus j into x. Okay. Now, as you have both plus and minus term, what is that you're going to do? Just rationalize this above expression. Just rationalize this. What I will do, I will just take 1 divided by r plus j into x and 1 divided by r plus r minus j into x. And when you rationalize, and you are going to get okay, this rationalizing term already you have done in your mathematics. Please rationalize this given expression. When you rationalize this given expression, finally you will be getting an expression. you will be getting an expression something like this. I will just rewrite the expression after rationalization, because again rationalizing, if I am starting here, it will be taking more than an hour. Okay, so it is, I'll be getting expression as r divided by r square plus x square, r divided by r square plus x square. This is a real term, and the imaginary term, it will be minus or plus or minus j into x parameter will be something, it is x divided by r square plus x square, r square plus x square. Okay, this is expression which you are going to get after rationalizing. Now I will just write this in the simplest form. See, in the numerator I have r. I will just keep this r alone here, and denominator divided by, what is this z? Z is nothing but r plus j into x, but it is r square plus x square is nothing but z square, right? So that is here applying the Pythagoras theorem. So z is equals to r plus j into x, but here it will be z square. I can indicate z square as r square plus x square. Okay, and minus plus j into x divided by again I have the same term here, r square plus x square. So I can write it as it is as z square. So z square. See, I have just taken the impedance expression, I have just substituted in the admittance, and I have rationalized, and finally I got this particular expression. From this I'm going to write this expression in the general form, that is whenever I have the constant r by z, I am going to indicate it as a constant, a new constant, that is g. Just now I have told you it is a conductance. So I am going to rewrite this expression. In place of r by z square is nothing but g, and in place of x by z square is nothing but my b. B is nothing but my susceptance. So whenever you want to give the relation, for admittance. Okay, for the admittance is nothing but a real term of the conductance and the imaginary term of the susceptance. Or if you want to tell in the definition for the conductance, that is g is nothing but it is the ratio of resistance to the square of impedance. See, the g is nothing but this one. You have to remember the formula for g. G is nothing but r by z square, or you can tell in terms it is the ratio of resistance to the square of impedance. That is nothing but your conductance. And the unit for conductance, see, for the impedance, what is the unit for impedance? That you know, it is ohms. Can anyone tell me what is the unit for admittance? Anywhere you have studied? So the unit for impedance is ohms. So that you know. I have told you a bit early, right? So impedance, you know. Can you just anyone unmute and tell me what is the unit for
Conductance.
Huh? No.
Conductance.
No. Unit I'm asking. Unit for impedance is ohms. Unit for admittance? Reciprocal of impedance. Huh?
Per ohm, ma'am.
Oh,
Per
yes,
ohm.
MHO. You know that, right? How do you indicate mho? It is just in the opposite direction, something like this, right? Because it is a reciprocal of impedance. Now, for the conductance, I'll be indicating G, right? So, if I want to indicate here G, what is the unit of conductance?
Meter per ohm square.
Meter, huh?
Sorry. Yes.
How do you get this meter?
See, Simon, ma'am. Conductance is Simon, ma'am.
Conductance is Siemens, right? So conductance will be Siemens. So SIEMENS. The unit for conductance is Siemens. Please remember, because in the problems you are going to calculate even the conductance and the susceptance. Okay, the unit for susceptance, B. Can anyone tell me what is the unit for susceptance? The unit for susceptance also, it will be a Siemens only. The unit for susceptance also will be a Siemens only. So the conductance and the susceptance both, it will be having a unit of Siemens. Okay, and the other two units, it is known to you. Now, whenever you are writing G is equals to R by Z square. Similarly, the susceptance, you can define the susceptance. The definition for susceptance is it is the ratio of reactance to the square of impedance. This reactance, if you are considering the inductor, then it will be inductive reactance. If you are considering the capacitor, then it will be a capacitive reactance according to your what is that circuit, the given circuit. Okay, so the impedance. Admittance, conductance, and the susceptance. All these three you have learnt. Now I have given the impedance triangle, right? So in the previous class I have taught you about the impedance triangle. Please remember this Z, Y, G, and B now. Okay, I'm going to go with the next triangle. Before going to the next triangle, I will just brief out the impedance triangle. Now for the impedance triangle, Z, I have written the what is the diagram? What is that? That is Z is equals to, what is my expression? It will be R plus or minus J into X. Right? So whenever I want to write the impedance triangle, my X component will be R. This you know, yes. And the Y component will be X. And when I take a hypotenuse of both the things, then my hypotenuse will be Z. So the Z triangle, in the impedance triangle, it consists of R, X, and Z. This X, it can be XL or XC. If it is XL, it will be coming on the top. If it is XC, it will be coming on the bottom. That you can understand, right? So in general, I'm just considering you will be having a reactance. That reactance will be present in terms of inductance, or it may be in terms of capacitance. Okay. Now this is your impedance triangle. Similarly, I want to write the admittance triangle now. Admittance triangle. Just now you have found the expression for admittance. So what is that admittance? Y is equals to G. I think my screen it went off. Is my screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I didn't found this notification here. So okay, see here, G plus or minus J into B. See, this is your what is that the equation for admittance, no? So my admittance, if I want to get the admittance Y, so my X component will be what is the X component from this expression? Can you just anyone guess? What is the X component here?
G.
It is G. So the X component is G and the Y component is B. The Y component is B and the hypotenuse, this will be your Y. And suppose when you are writing the waveforms, so whatever I have written, I am going to write this triangle which is having an angle phi here, but here whenever I see this, always the admittance, whatever the susceptance, it is on the top. So hence the susceptance is on the, if it is moving in the upward direction, which is leading, then it will be capacitive in nature. Suppose the same diagram, if I am writing something like this, in the what is that, with the phase angle, having a phase angle with the clockwise direction, then this B, I am going to indicate it as BL because it is inductive in nature. Okay, so this is for capacitive. Okay, if my thing is capacitive, if BL is positive, just remember, if BL is positive, okay, if B is positive, if my value for B is positive in this particular diagram, if G plus J into B, then it is capacitive in nature. If B is positive, then it is capacitive in nature. And if my B is negative, that is something, my expression Y is equals to G minus J into B. If I get minus, then it is inductive. It is just opposite to your impedance. That's it. Okay, just you can remember in that way. Okay, if B is negative, then it will be inductive in nature. Just keep this certain points in your mind. Any confusions here? Any confusions? But if I want to tell in terms of signature, once again, you should not be in a confusion, no? Because when you're solving a problem, you should not be in a confusion. So whenever I write the impedance equation, if I write the impedance equation, my value R plus J into X, if I write, if plus is there, means by default you can understand it is inductive in nature. Inductive in nature. So inductor L will come if it is plus. If it is minus, means the capacitor will come. Okay, if the capacitor will come in the impedance diagram, impedance thing. In the admittance you will be having G plus. In the admittance, G plus means plus indicates it is capacity. See, opposite. That's it. It is capacitive. Minus indicates it is inductive. Getting my point? Any confusions here? Any confusions? So in the impedance, plus means inductive, minus means capacitive. But here in the admittance, it will be reciprocal of whatever the thing that you have assumed previously. Getting my point? So this is about your parallel circuit. And now you quickly start solving some of the problems on the parallel circuit, and that completes this particular single phase AC circuits. Single phase AC circuits. So please take down a problem. I think you have the books with you. Yes.
Yes,
If you
ma'am.
have, please raise your hand. If you have kept your book and pen with you, if you are ready, please raise your hand so that I can dictate a problem. It's 40 minutes over because the instruction it was given only 40 minutes of the class. It has to be taken. Anyone has a track of that? Okay. I will just give you the problem. Try to solve. Okay. I'll quickly take the attendance and we will and I have posted a quiz. I think morning 9 o'clock. Anyone saw the quiz? I think few students they have taken up the quiz.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, have you taken the quiz? So the remaining students who have not taken the quiz, please take the quiz after this class or by evening, because tomorrow I have given the deadline. Tomorrow I have given the deadline and it is going to stop. It is going to wind up by tomorrow. Okay. And one more quiz also is this scheduled on Thursday. So weekly I will be giving 2 quizzes. Even the last week I have given 2 quizzes, and previous to that I have given 2, and this week I'm going to give 2 quizzes. Already it is scheduled. Okay. Today you can see already. And Thursdays I have given the viewpoint on 9 o'clock. So Thursday 9 o'clock sharp, 9 o'clock you will be getting the what is that assigned quiz for you for taking up. Okay, take down the circuit shown in a figure. The circuit shown in a figure. The circuit shown in a figure. The circuit shown in a figure is operating at omega is equals to 50. That is nothing but your angular frequency. Okay, omega is equals to 50 radians per second. Omega is equals to 50 radians per second. Full stop. Construct two phasor diagrams. Construct two phasor diagrams. One for 3 volts and other for 3 voltages. See, for 3 voltages, one for 3 voltages and other for 3 currents. One for 3 voltages and other for 3 currents. One for 3 voltages and other for 3 current. Take down this diagram. See, I have an impedance here. I have an inductor here, which is having a value of 0.2 Henry. 0.2 Henry. Okay, the voltage across this inductor, I'm going to consider it as V2. The voltage across this inductor is V2, and this it is given to a resistor of 2 ohms. This is given to a resistor of 2 ohms, and the other end here I'm going to connect it here. It is capacitor. This is my capacitor C. This is my capacitor C. Okay, this is nothing but it is 0.01 farads. 0.01 farad, and this is positive and this is negative. They have given all the directions here. Okay, and now this is connected to your supply. This is connected to your supply voltage, positive, negative, and having a voltage V1. Having a voltage V1, and this in turn it is connected to. This in turn it is connected to a current of. In turn it is connected to a current of I1, and this I1 it is having a value of 2 at an angle of 0 degree. 2 at an angle of 0 degree, and this is in amperes. Okay, this is in amperes. Try to solve this.